I'm sick and tired of people in positions of power being scared and afraid and complicit in the violence and the bloodshed.
Also taking a swipe at his rivals.
Even some Democrats who are running scared on this issue are running away from those that they represent. Ask Chuck Schumer what he's been able to get done. We still don't have background checks. Didn't have them when he was in the majority either. So, the game that he's played, the politics that he's pursued have given us absolutely nothing and have produced a situation where we lose nearly 40,000 of our fellow Americans every year. What he may not know, but what I hear loud and clear because I'm traveling the country, listening to my fellow Americans, is that the people are there. They just did a poll in Texas. 49% of Texans, the state of Texas, support a mandatory buyback. A little more than 30% feel to not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
This idea that we can't get it done because of the situation in the Senate, I'm looking to lead a movement. The number one reason why governments are formed is to protect the citizenry. Think about this. We have had more people die due to gun violence in my lifetime than every single war in this country combined from the Revolutionary War till now. This is not a side issue to me. It is a central issue to me. That is the kind of fight, because the majority of homicide victims, we have a mass shooting every single day in communities like mine. We must awaken a more courageous empathy in this country so that we stand together and fight together and overwhelm those Republicans who are not even representing their constituency, because the majority of Americans, the majority of gun owners agree with me, not the corporate gun lobby. It is time for a movement on this issue.
It is irrational, with all due respect to the governor of Texas, irrational what they're doing. On the very day you see a mass shooting, I guess the number is now, I was on a plane the last 2.5 hours, I think up to 5 killed.
How many gunmen? Not sure how many people have been shot. Don't know how many people have been killed. The condition of those who have survived. Don't know what the motivation is. Do not yet know the firearms that were used or how they acquired them. But we do know this is f***ed up.
And we're talking about loosening access to have guns, be able to take them into places of worship, store them in school. I mean, it's just absolutely irrational. It's totally irrational. And it's all about special interest. And it has to stop. It has to stop.
Let me start by saying today, if it's an average day in America, 7 children and teenagers will die from gun violence. Won't make headlines, most of them. It'll happen in neighborhoods and that don't get covered in the news. It'll fall particularly hard on communities of color.
The idea that we don't have elimination of assault-type weapons, magazines that can hold multiple bullets in them, is absolutely mindless.
It is our responsibility to put a stop to that. That's where we have to start, the urgency of this moment. That's part one.
It is no violation of the Second Amendment. It is it's just a bow to the special interest of the gun manufacturers and the NRA. It's got to stop.
Part two is, think about what I just talked about corruption. Corruption is what keeps Congress from doing the people's business. The overwhelming majority of Americans want to see us take sensible gun safety regulations. They want to see us change the laws.
And those who say, maybe some do, that the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots, meaning you got to be able to have enough power to take on your government.
Universal background checks, assault weapons off our streets, get rid of bump stocks, and the ability to fire weapons in a short period of time. There are a lot of things we could be doing.
Well, you need an F-15. You need an M1 tank. You need flamethrowers. You need bazookas. No, I'm serious. If that's the rationale, okay?
So why doesn't it happen? And the answer is corruption. It's corruption. Right now, we have a Washington that is held hostage by the gun industry and the NRA. That has to stop.
Now, that has not been the rationale for the Second Amendment in most scholars' view. But here's the deal. We've always been able to say certain people should not own a weapon. A person who, in fact, beats and abuses his wife and convicted of it should not be able to get a weapon.
So here's my pitch on guns. We need to set a goal. My goal is we need to cut deaths by 80% from gun violence. That includes suicide, domestic violence, mass shootings, neighborhood shootings, and not rest until we've done it. So thank you.
A person who's engaged in violence should not be able to get a weapon. A terrorist should not be able to purchase a weapon. I can go on the list. That's why universal background checks are absolutely required. And they do not violate anyone's Second Amendment right. They do not violate anyone's Second Amendment right.